Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be making a tier list of the first and second phase of the Marvel movies in the Marvel Universe. I'm deciding to try something a little bit different this time, and my buddy Iron Man is here to help me out. Because even if you disagree with my opinion, you can't disagree with Iron Man's opinion. So this is part 1 of 2 videos. I will be covering phases 1 through 4 in 2 videos. So today we're covering phases 1 and 2. I decided to do that so that I could keep the video a little bit shorter, and then I also have a video for you next week. But without further ado, let's get started ranking these wonderful superhero movies.
Wake up, Daddy's home.
Alright, now to explain our tier list. Tippity toppity top S tier is I Am Iron Man.
I am Iron Man.
Pretty self-explanatory. It is the best of the best Marvel movies. It's top tier. You must see it. Great movie. Now the second category is the Da Vinci of our time.
You've been called the Da Vinci of our time. What do you say to that?
Absolutely ridiculous. I don't paint.
It's not quite as iconic as I Am Iron Man, but still, who would not want to be called the Da Vinci of our time? So for that reason, it is the second of our tier list. Now the third section of our tier list is on your left.
Don't say it. Don't you say it.
On your left.
Come on!
Now, I mean, obviously Sam doesn't like this, but you know, he secretly loves it.
No.
For that reason, it's kind of like, it's in the middle. Sorry, I know it's not a great tier list name, but I wanted to do something creative. All right, and the next category that we have is Puny God.
Puny God.
I'm sorry for that accent, it was terrible. But that, I also feel like is a little bit self-explanatory. I mean, it's an iconic scene from the original Avengers movie, but I mean, he's also smacking around Loki. So this category is for the movies that are not super great, but I mean, you'll still watch them, you still enjoy them. They're not garbage. And the last category is go to sleep, go to sleep, go to sleep, go to sleep.
Go to sleep, go to sleep, go to sleep.
It's kind of a snooze fest. It's not really the best movie ever. The storyline's not great. It's just not an overall not very good movie. I mean, in my opinion, this is just my opinion, no Marvel movie is absolutely garbage.
Nowhere left to run.
But we'll start off with the one that kicked it all off and got it all started, Iron Man. I feel like that doesn't need an explanation. It got people who weren't into comics and superhero movies into superhero movies. I don't think I know a single person who isn't a Marvel fan. And fun fact, I actually refused to watch this movie when it first came out because I was that type of child that did not want to try anything new. I'm sure my family is probably laughing at that now. Anyways, movie is great, storyline is great, kicks off the entire MCU. Robert Downey Jr., absolutely perfect casting. Name another actor that could play that part so great. Also, by the way, if you could like and subscribe, I would really appreciate it, thanks. Next up, we have The Incredible Hulk. And now, I'm not going to lie, I actually don't remember this movie a whole lot. From what I remember, it's not the greatest movie ever. I mean, obviously, it's kind of Bruce Banner's origin story, but I also don't even think they explain how he becomes the Hulk in the original one. I think he's already the Hulk at the very beginning. But overall, I think Edward Norton's pretty good. I actually don't really understand why they didn't bring him back. Maybe it was scheduling conflict or something like that. I feel like people make it out to seem like this awful movie, but it's actually not. It's not horrible. I mean, the story's okay. I enjoy it. I want to put it on your left, but I actually think I might put it in Puny God. It's a little below mid. All right, and next we have Iron Man 2. Kind of a little bit of a forgettable movie, if I'm not gonna lie here. I do like that Elon Musk makes a little cameo. I think that's kind of funny.
Hey, those Merlin engines are fantastic.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, good idea for an electric jet.
I mean, the story's pretty great. I mean, I have this thing about these Marvel movies that are around that time period. Outside of the Avengers, obviously. I love the Avengers. They're not that exciting to me. This was around the time, too, when I wasn't really into Marvel quite as much. Let's just say it's just not my favorite phase of the Marvel Universe. But I also wouldn't really remember this movie if I didn't rewatch it back in like 2020. I probably wouldn't have remembered it at all. So for that reason, it's gonna go above Incredible Hulk, but it's gonna stick on your left. All right, now we've got Thor. This movie I enjoyed the first time that I watched it. It's a good movie and it's really fun. To be fair though, I didn't realize this movie was a part of the Marvel Universe until the Avengers came out. I was also pretty young, and this was the very beginning of the MCU. But I would say the story is great. I love the little appearance from Hawkeye. I would say overall it's a very good origin story of Thor. So for that reason, it's gonna go above Iron Man 2, but I don't think it's good enough to be top tier. So Da Vinci of our time. Next we have Captain America, the First Avenger. And I will say that this movie and Thor give me the same type of vibes. I think it's because it's also an origin story for Steve Rogers, but it's a very good one. And I mean, Stanley Tucci, any movie that he's in is it's gonna boost up the movie just a little bit.
That was something. Thank you for that.
But I would say it's on the same wavelength as like Thor. I mean, they did come out at the same time, almost the same time. But I think it's a great story. This is one of those movies that I actually sincerely like remember and like would watch like multiple times because I wanted to watch it multiple times. It's also gonna go in Da Vinci over time, but it's actually, I'm gonna put it in front of Thor because I think it's slightly better. Now we have the Avengers.
Talented, brilliant, incredible, amazing, show-stopping, spectacular.
I absolutely love this movie. I am a sucker for when you take characters from other movies and put them together. You know all those like TV shows on like Nickelodeon and Disney Channel when they would do show crossovers? Oh my god, I love them. They're so fun. Not only that, the story is great. I mean, Loki as a villain is great. I also think it's a very interesting dynamic to have Loki as a villain. He is Thor's brother after all.
He's adopted.
But this is one of those movies that I could watch 1,000 times, never get sick of it, and for that reason, I am Iron Man. Alright, now we have Iron Man 3. Iron Man 3 is also one of those movies that is a little bit forgettable in my opinion. Again, in that same era of movies that was happening. But I do love that they show that Tony is capable without the suit. Also set up for how he treats Peter Parker in the future also. What's the line? If you're nothing without the suit, then you shouldn't have it. Is it something like that? Is that right?
If you're nothing without this suit, then you shouldn't have it.
I will say that I think this Iron Man is probably my least favorite of the three. But I mean, for that reason, I think I'm gonna put it right next to Iron Man 2, because it's a mid movie. It's not awesome, but it's not great. All right, and that brings us to Thor: The Dark World.
Bombastic side eye.
I think we all kind of can agree on this, but I do like that the MCU does like poke fun at itself in future movies about this movie because they know it's not great. The movie is just kind of overall just boring in my opinion. There's no like feeling of super high stakes, and I know the stakes are super high for like Jane because she's literally has an Infinity Stone in her, but like also, if it wasn't for that movie, because I think that was one of the very, very first movies to introduce the Reality Stone or any of the Infinity Stones.
Aren't you forgetting something?
This movie was definitely necessary, and then also, obviously, in Endgame, they go back. It's kind of needed, but at the same time, is it wanted? I wouldn't say this, this movie's kind of a snooze fest. I gotta say, it's not great. If it was on TV, I wouldn't choose to watch it. All right, and next we have The Winter Soldier. Oh, I should say Captain America and the Winter Soldier, which I will say I really enjoyed this movie when it came out. I don't remember it all that well. Maybe I should have watched the movies right before I made this. I mean, I would say watching it back now, it's not my number one pick for Marvel movie that I would want to watch, but it's not like the dead last on my list. I would say it's a good movie. It's a good story. Without that movie, we don't get Bucky. Reuniting the dynamic duo, little bromance, the relationship between Steve Rogers and Bucky, and how Steve is just like, he doesn't care that, you know, his best friend is a raging psychopath now because he knows it's not his fault. They twisted his brain, did experiments on him and stuff, and you know what? It all turns out okay in the end. We're gonna put it on your left, but we're gonna put it in front of Iron Man 2 and Iron Man 3. Because I do think it's better than both those movies. All right, next we have Guardians of the Galaxy. This is a good movie. This is a really good movie. I think this is also kind of the beginning. It's not the beginning because I know there's been some humor scattered throughout all of the Marvel movies so far, but I think this is one of the first movies that really encapsulates, is that the right word? Encapsulates comedy within the Marvel universe. Now, you can argue that these movies are too witty or it's like it's just there has to be a joke every other whatever. But you know what? I like that, okay? I like to laugh. Not only the comedy, the acting is great. The music in this movie is fantastic. Are you kidding me? I haven't seen this movie in a hot minute, and to be completely honest, I actually think I remember the second movie a little bit more than the original. But it is fun going back and watching these movies when you know more things now. Like, you know what happens in the future movies, and you know, like, kind of the things that they were throwing at you before they were actually thrown to you in a movie.
That makes no sense.
But I love all of the Guardians movies, and I mean, we are Groot. Just because we are Groot, it's gonna go into Da Vinci of our time. I don't think it's quite I Am Iron Man level, but it's pretty close. So for that reason, it's going in front of Captain America and Thor. Okay, and then we have Age of Ultron. Not gonna lie, I'm not the biggest fan of this movie, actually. The story's okay, I guess. And I will say, that scene when they're all trying to pick up Thor's hammer, that's a really good scene.
Are you even pulling? Are you on my team? Just represent, pull. All right, let's go.
It's like you want to see like all of your favorite heroes and stuff just like hanging out together, just being buddies. I think that's really fun. Like just showing them having a relationship outside of just fighting together. You know, you have a cameo from one of the villains in Black Panther, which is also fun, which you don't know yet because Black Panther hasn't been out yet. I would say overall this movie has some good pieces in it, but overall it's just like, and then I'm sorry, Black Widow and Hulk, that relationship is so cringy to me.
You're a monster.
I can't support it. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for you Hulk and Black Widow stands out there. It's real cringy to me. I don't like it. We're gonna put it in on your left, and I'm actually gonna put it at the end there. Last, but certainly not least, we have Ant-Man. Now, Ant-Man, I think is incredibly underrated. Not gonna lie to you. When they first made this movie and it was in theaters, I thought that Marvel was running out of ideas. Thinking back now, clearly they were not even close to running out of ideas. But you know what? That's what I thought in my head because I was like, Ant-Man as a superhero? That's such a weird name. First of all, Ant-Man? But I really do love this movie. It's a great movie. I would say it's definitely one of the more underrated Marvel movies. I won't say anything about future movie yet. But overall, I really like Scott's character. Maybe that's my bias because I really like Paul Rudd. Jokes aside, I think Scott Lang is a great character. I mean, I love that I think one of the first scenes is him in prison, actually. It's funny, it's witty, and one of my favorite scenes too, when Lewis is telling the story and they're showing all of the characters that he's talking about actually saying what he's saying. It's ingenious, it's super funny.
Amazing, show-stopping, spectacular, never the same.
It's actually in that new Hot Cheetos movie on Hulu, which I highly recommend. It's a great movie. But overall, I would say that this is a very underrated Marvel movie. So for that reason, it's gonna go, I actually think it's gonna go before Captain America and Thor. I think it's better. So this is our tier list right here. Again, this is just my opinion. Feel free to disagree with me. I will be putting this tier list on Twitter after this video is posted, so if you guys want to go check it out over there, I've got my socials in my description below. Anyways, I hope you guys really enjoyed this video. I've been wanting to make a video like this for a really long time, but I haven't gone back to YouTube since like 2020 or something like that. It's been a while, but I decided I kind of wanted to start making YouTube videos again. If you're missing me on streaming, I'm really sorry. I'm not going to be streaming for a little bit, maybe again in the future, but for now I'm going to stick with making some YouTube videos. Hopefully you guys enjoy that. But if you haven't already, please like and subscribe. I would really, really appreciate it. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!